morning, you guys. So today is day 6 of my discerning, kind of my next steps here, spiritual direction, discernment. Um, I posted, I tell you what, yesterday was tough. Yesterday was a good day. That'd technically be day 5. I did record a couple of, I think I did like 3 or 4 times. I tried to do a video. So I don't know. I'm going to go back and look at that and see if there was anything worth saving, because I wasn't happy with how it turned out. And it was very confusing, and I was kind of all over the place, and I think it was just some confusion. It was a good day. I had consolations, but just a lot of, I think what kept happening is I kept wanting to pull myself back into what's the harder thing to do. You know, when I'm trying to discern whether or not to go back to school or to continue with men's ministry, I kept thinking to myself, like, I just kept, I don't know, I just kept wanting to pull myself back in towards what's the harder, more noble, saintly thing to do, to bear some heavy cross. And so that's where I kept going back to. And so this morning, I was at Mass, and I just left Mass. And so I thought, while it's fresh, I just left Mass. I was very close to Jesus. And I'm just gonna talk about what I felt like he was talking to me about today. I had some great conversations last night, also too, with Jonathan, and Thad was one of our interviews early on in the podcast, and so he had some really great insight too. Jonathan, both of them did. Got a chance to talk to Dr. David Anders, who's on EWTN, and we were up at his thing last night where he spoke, and so we actually got to talk to him after the fact, and I even point blank asked him, how do you know to follow the desires of your heart? Like, what does that mean? And so he had some really good insight as well. So that was yesterday. So today, I sat in Mass. I was by myself because I was up in Omaha last night. So I was there by myself. My family went to Mass yesterday evening. And anyway, what hit me sort of like pretty heavily was, and it's gonna hit me right now. Today it's the Feast of the Transfiguration. So Jesus went up to Mount Tabor and prayed with 3 of his disciples, Peter, James, and John. Anyway, life-changing moment, right? Like he comes down, just glorified. The Transfiguration took place. Well, that's today. It's celebrated today, March 1st, Sunday. And today, the way that everything just worked out, with me being up in Omaha last night, I couldn't go to Mass yesterday evening with my family. I went by myself today, but the Mass was offered for our family. This is family. So I guess it just hit me, because the one thing that I keep gravitating towards, and it was reiterated a couple of times yesterday, and Dr. David Anders said it, and multiple people will comment, like, your main vocation is your family. Like, that's your main vocation. And so I keep thinking, like, how do I not abandon them? How do I continue to help and pray and be with them and support them, provide for them? And then I realized, like, I'm here alone. Like I'm here alone. And then I thought, well, but I still am providing for my family, even though I'm not with them. And there's so many men who go away and they have to provide for their family, and they're not home with them, just because of circumstances, whatever. But I felt like I was sort of softening my heart to that idea that I don't need to maybe go into these really difficult situations where I feel like I have to carry some heavy cross. I need to be St. Francis of Assisi, and I need to be St. Therese of Lisieux. I like these heavy, St. John of the Cross, right? Like these heavy vocations that these men and women picked up as saints. I don't know. That's been my problem, is I've been going back and forth between, like, what should I be doing? Like, what is God asking of me? And even during Mass today, it was kind of interesting. There's this really little baby in front of me. And she was just staring over her mom's shoulder back at me, and it was just so, all right. Sorry, you guys, I got cut off there with my storage. So anyway, it was just this beautiful moment with this baby. And then I felt this uneasiness, like she was looking at me, like Jesus would be looking through her eyes at me. and his like what I felt was that he was asking me to do more, like in a like I'm not doing enough. I think is really what, like, I'm asking you, like, you please help me, kind of like a please help me sort of a situation. And I thought, or feeling, and I was like, oh, that doesn't feel good. That doesn't sit right with me. And so I think I need to be very careful about what voices, what thoughts, what feelings are entering and moving through me. And so, and Father Johnson this morning at St. Martin's, he even spoke about discernment of spirits. And I thought, well, that was really interesting that he's talking about that, and the movements and how to really be aware of that. And one thing that he said, which I thought was really good, is to, when you're going through these discernment processes and you're in consolation, to, he said one woman actually writes down on a letter what, what's happening, the consolations, what Jesus is doing, like when Jesus is pouring out his grace, making you feel so loved, and you have tears and all these things, to write that down. And then this lady actually seals it up in an envelope and puts it away on a shelf. And that way, when she enters into the desolations, which will come, that she's able to go back, open up that envelope, and it's a letter to herself about what it's like when she's, what God was doing for her in the consolation, so she doesn't forget God's love for her, and what is reality, not what the devil is telling us about how God has abandoned us and God is not helping us and all these things. And so that's where I feel like I've been the last few days, especially yesterday. I was really struggling with what. Just so back and forth, like I'd hear some great advice, and then I start judging, like, well, can I even trust what they're telling me? Like, is that real, or is the devil working through in a way to manipulate their thoughts to tell me something that I would maybe take as, okay, this is what they are telling me to do. That's what God wants me to do, but it's actually not what God wants me to do. So I was very confused. I mean, there's just this confusion that enters in, and that is not a sign of God's work. I mean, he brings peace and clarity. So which is great. So like leaving Mass, I'm pretty fresh leaving Mass, and seeing with I think the right lens right now. So I guess that's why I wanted to just make this video right now. But the last thing I guess I thought would be be helpful is, and it kind of dovetails on the writing down the times when you're in consolation. So I had a very similar situation, where I took a leap of faith back in 2022 to leave my vocation of working in an environment that I felt was rough. It was toxic at times, and I just felt sick, and it was hard, but I was providing for my family. Like, I was doing things to provide. But I took a leap of faith. I discerned it with a spiritual director and took a leap of faith. And looking back now, all the fruit that has come from that has been amazing. And so I think I kind of recognized that last night too, of like, okay, let's look at if you were to take a step away. And to be completely transparent, I'm thinking about, do I leave my spot teaching? It's a super amazing, noble place to be, where I'm teaching teenagers. I'm helping them know God and know themselves and believe that they're enough. And I'm teaching art with them. And so, like, for me to step away from that seems sort of crazy. But when I look back to what I did before, that was, it was so fruitful. There's so much that had come from it. And then last night, talking through all there's so many opportunities that almost just flooded me last night with what could happen with men's ministry. And the knowledge and the understanding that God can provide, and he does provide, and he will provide for me and my family in miraculous ways. And so I don't want to lead anybody astray. I hope that God is speaking through me with this video and this series so far. Sorry, you guys. This is a hard video to make. I mean, it's maybe there's some truth in this video that God willing, he's bringing through me. But my phone keeps dying. Anyway, or it's just running out of storage. So anyway, I guess what I wanted to just kind of just reiterate is that God has provided for my family. He's done it in miraculous ways. We've had some amazing spiritual experiences where we asked for his providence, and he shows up in a big way. So I'm excited about the next steps. I'm leaning now towards a certain direction, men's ministry. I don't know exactly when I got to figure this out pretty fast here, but that's where I'm leaning today. I feel a lot of peace and consolation and relief from kind of getting to that point. Yeah, thank you for your prayers, because I know that people are praying for me. I've seen comments too, and I thank you for your encouragement. All the people around me that have helped me. Just know that this is a process, right? Like this is a real life. I'm working through this, trying to figure out what God wants me to do. I really haven't tried to hold anything back. I think maybe at times I'm like, is this boring? Does anybody want to even listen to this? But I'm hoping that this is helpful. I may try to do one more tomorrow as sort of a wrap up of 7 days and go from there. But thank you for your prayers. If you have any comments or questions, let me know and I'll try to answer them. But Saint Ignatius of Loyola, Father Timothy Gallagher, great information, great books, Discernment of Spirits. That's where I'm getting most of this information, along from different spiritual directors. But have a great day, you guys. God bless you. Feast of the Transfiguration today. God bless you. Bye-bye.